Welcome to the Social Work Rants podcast, providing a platform for social workers to share their stories. The podcast covers a wide range of topics, including mental health, social justice, policy, and the day-to-day realities of the profession. Season 10 will continue to focus on the intersectionality of mental health and finances. Hope you enjoy. Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to another episode of Season 10 of the Social Work Rants podcast. I'm your host, Bash Moreno. Saludos a todos. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. I appreciate all the love support. Gracias a todos por su apoyo. Continue to follow the podcast on social media outlets such as Instagram at the Social Work Rants podcast. That is on one word. On Twitter X at Social Work Rants, and Facebook, aka Meta, the Social Work Rants podcast. Hit that like button. Uh, check out the YouTube channel. Hit that red subscribe button. Type in the Social Work Rants podcast. Subscribe, and of course, however you listen to podcasts all over the world, tap in, download episodes, share episodes, comment. If you have Spotify, you can comment on episodes. So, yeah, shout out to everybody who's been listening and watching these last 5 years. My guess at this time, we're gonna help out our first gen students, and myself being sure I'm a first gen homeowner for first gen that got a 4 year degree and got my master's in social work. So just helping us out because there's a lot happening as of this recording all over the world. So let's tap in with Sarah Diaz. How you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for having me and congrats on 10 seasons. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
it's, it's been at times a struggle to to get there, but we're here.
Well, it's important because the message that social workers especially are getting through your podcast is very much needed. So I hope you keep going.
Yeah, and I intend to keep going, and we got that orange man in the White House that potentially is going to give me a lot to talk about. So,
Oh man, there's a lot that we can get into.
so be, before we get started on that topic, among others, let people know who you are and what you do in the space.
Yes, thank you. So, hello everyone. My name is Sarah. I am a licensed clinical social worker, born and raised in New Jersey. So, Jersey girl at heart, currently living in South Florida. I decided to take the leap and go for a change because in the pandemic I was overwhelmed and I was looking for better weather. I don't know how I lasted in the north for so long, and was looking for this quality of life, right, that I think all social workers should have, especially for the work that we do. So I moved on over and I've been here for the last 2 years. And with that, I also have a small business called the First Gen Madrina. So going to what you were talking about in the beginning, doing a lot of work with the first generation community. And just to give a brief definition, for me, first gen means a lot of things. So traditionally, the Department of Ed has a definition that says that you're the first or you're a first gen if you were the first in your family to graduate college in the US. So some of us are considered to be first gens if we did that. But I like to expand on the definition because I think first gen means a lot more than just that. So you mentioned you're a first time homeowner, right? We can be first gens if we're the first to break cycles in our family. We're the first to maybe go to therapy, and be that support, I guess, to give back to our family. So to me, being a first gen means so many different things.
Mhm.
But first and foremost, one of the things that are not really taught to us, especially from a lot of our culture, is that in order to be the first, we have to take care of ourselves. And my primary focus is in educating and supporting first gen college students. I don't know about you, but I always say I don't know how I survived in school. Like I experienced my first panic attack as a first gen college student. Thankfully, down the line, I was eventually connected to support. but I want to be that person that I wish that I had, that has someone to be able to recognize, like, hey, you're struggling, or hey, you don't have to take on 20 credits, right? This is
Mm.
not going to end well for you. I want to be that person, and that's why I named myself Madrina in the most modest way possible, which means godmother in Spanish, because I wanted to be that godmother figure for someone else that felt like they couldn't talk to their family about their struggles. And that's really what the work is that I do with the First Gen Madrina. And like you said, there is so much unknown with that work, and a lot of the work that social workers do with the recent, or the change in administration rather, of funding for programs that are crucial for college students. And those are the programs that I primarily work with, right? We have big programs in Jersey. We have EOF, right? We have our TRIO programs across the states. These are very crucial programs that are available for college students and students that are transitioning to college, to be able to succeed. And the fact that those programs are being jeopardized right now, there's so much unknown. Obviously, it's a little worrisome for me, for the business, because that's
Mm.
mostly what I do. But overall, it's worrisome because I know so many proud alumni of these programs that would not have gone to where they are today if it weren't for those opportunities. So, at the time that we're recording this, there's still so much uncertainty, but I think it's important to bring awareness to how it can affect a lot of the communities that we work with.
No, absolutely. You said a lot right there. First and foremost, shoot, it doesn't get talked about is we need to have good quality of life for us in the
Yes.
individuals and social workers in the profession. Should you leave in New Jersey to go to Florida, and then myself leaving New York to go to to Delaware, pos-
Mm,
for quality of life. So that really doesn't get talked about too much. So,
mm,
but then at the same time, the work that you're doing, because we have Agent Orange Jr., who's the governor of Florida, and
mm,
he's got rid of a lot of DEI initiatives in the state universities and different colleges down in Florida. So well, one, how's
mm,
that transition been from moving to a new state during COVID, and two,
man.
how's your work been like working in the state?
That's a great question. It has been a huge challenge for me, professionally, right? Coming from Jersey, that is such a state that is so open to um, supporting students, but also bringing more mental health awareness. The governor revealed, I think it was last year, that they created this program that's called You Will for college students that offered free telehealth services to students where the college or the university has partnered with You Will, right? So a lot of colleges and universities got on board. It offered a lot more support for students. So that has been great. And thankfully, I do a lot of work remote. So I am still connected to my network in New Jersey to be able to support them. But it hasn't been easy in Florida. The buy-in is not there. And even if there is buy-in, there's a lot of fear in repercussions. There
Mm.
isn't the funding that's there. So it has been hard for me to establish my network down here because there aren't as many opportunities as there are up there. I will be lying if I told you that I haven't had a few crises of should I move back because there's nothing available to me here. But I've been told by many mentors that the work for me to be here is needed more than ever, because there aren't enough of us down here that want to break the cycles, that want to provide that support. So through that kind of tough love, I realized, like, okay, maybe I am meant to be here. Maybe there's a reason why I'm here. Maybe it's to disrupt those systems. I know it's hard, for one person to do,
Mm,
but maybe it is to have more open conversations wherever I can with the community on taking care of your mental health within living in a state that doesn't support as much, doesn't have that backup like other states do. So, I'm still trying to find my footing. It's only been 2 years that I've been here, but I have noticed that it is very, very challenging to get the buy-in from schools, to get the buy-in from organizations because it's not supported. It's not backed up by the government like it is in other states. So it has been a huge challenge, but I've learned that it's my mission to do it anyway, which
no,
is
that's
hard.
nah. I bet it's hard, but sometimes if you're up to it, you gotta put on that fight, and you're not alone in this space. And we gotta understand that um, these certain politicians, they're only going to be in their seats for so long. I think DeSantis might be up. It's either this year or next year, but it's coming up within this year.
Yeah.
So it's up to people to be like, all right, you need to get out,
Mm.
and
Well, it's
vote them
important
out.
it's important too to partner with organizations that are doing the work, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm forming a partnership with NAMI, who has a local chapter in Miami-Dade, and trying to get their support on research on how to go about this in a way that is appropriate, right? That is a way to not find loopholes, right? But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and I've started to realize this with the new administration, to me, it's about I'm not going to stop doing what I've been doing. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm called to do. But how can I do it in a different way so that I can still make it work? Because our work is needed now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's always been needed, right? But right now it's needed more than ever. So I have to get creative about, okay, how can I still make this work? So one of the things that I want to do is partner with organizations like NAMI, who has a big presence in mental health, and partnering with them to see like, okay, what can we do? What resources can we bring to the community and things like that. So if you ever have any doubts of how you can go about it, partner with those type of organizations and see what the work is that they're doing. And they have a presence here in Florida. So we still have to do the work around mental health.
No, absolutely. How for you personally? How's as of this recording, Agent Orange? It seemed like it's only been two
Mm.
weeks, but it seems like it's been like a year already that he's been in the White
Yeah.
House. How's it been like for you,
Mm.
and like all the things he says he wants to do, and like he threatened to cut all the funding, and he's like, no, we're not going to
Mm.
do it, right, at least not right now anyway. And like literally, if you go down like the Project 25 stuff, he's
Yeah.
literally achieving that one by one. So how's it been for you?
It's hard because we're in the unique position where most of us are being targeted, or most of us are feeling it both on the personal and professional level. So, obviously, as professionals, as social workers, this is something that impacts the communities that we work with. So, obviously, that is something that's going to hit close to home in that way and bring a lot of uncertainty, as I mentioned, with my business. And I definitely spiraled in the beginning and had a like, what am I gonna do if I can't be a social worker, moment. I think a lot of us do operate from those lens, but we shouldn't operate from fear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we do have to process it. We have to go through the motions, and that's what came up for me first with the professional side. And then personally, it is obviously something that is impacting me, being a daughter of immigrants, being a Latina, right, and seeing my community being affected, and also having differing views, political views from family members that I love very much. I think we don't talk about that piece enough. and how hard it can be when you still choose to have some type of relationship with those families, right? We know in our culture especially, it's not as easy to say cut people off, right? There might be some that you can say I have no problem cutting them out of my life. But then there's other people that it's more of a challenge, right? So it is
Mm,
I am going through the motions of processing that and grieving that. And as a therapist, I'm a big proponent on therapy on the personal side as well. It has helped me tremendously, and it's what's going to help me to navigate this. But we are in the unique position where it affects us both personally and professionally, which is
mm,
like it's a double whammy. So
mm,
if they ever preach to us about self-care before, we had to talk about that a lot more now because we have to fill our cups in order to be able to support anyone else. And that looks different for everyone. So I just want to remind everyone to do that first and foremost because it is going to be a pretty challenging time.
yeah. I know for myself, I've cut a certain family member off
Mm,
due to political views. Made no apologies for it. Um, I think I should.
mm,
I thought about it doing like an actual podcast, just sharing, kind of like sharing stories, and I think that people, people
mm,
like drama and gossip.
mm,
So, but anyway,
mm.
but besides that, like just from my own piece, and I recently did a podcast episode about protecting your peace and what does that look like.
Yes.
Uh, and you have to do that because if you don't protect your peace, like you said, you gotta have your cup full in order to help others and like you know and I was like literally going through all the different social media stuff, because the that press release was so vague and was like, what the heck are you talking about? What's being cut? And like you wasn't sure what exactly being cut, and there was a lot of like misinformation and just trying to gather all the facts of
Mm,
like things like WIC and like Social Security or stuff like it was just is that especially the WIC part because I work at a children's hospital, so that's the first thing I thought of. Like we had a lot of newborns that and like they need
mm-hmm.
formula and stuff. Or okay, like we gonna help them get formula now? Just just different things like that from a work aspect, and just trying to see if that's gonna be cut off. And it was like because I literally was like gonna bring up in my next work meeting. Okay, how are we gonna help families? How are we gonna like tell doctors like don't send any referrals to us for WIC because we're not gonna be able to. There's no resources, so it's like
Yeah,
it
it's
was
tough.
it was like a trickle down effect. Then they stopped that literally the next day. So it's a lot, or just limiting the news. Like they just you only consume what you can consume, and that's
Yeah.
it. Like whatever it is that works for you to protect your peace, just like do that. So
That's crucial. And it's hard because I don't know about you, but I'm like having a hard time finding that fine line of I want to stay educated and informed, but I also have to protect my peace, right?
mhm.
So to me, it's like, where do I put up that boundary? Because it will consume you. And yes, we do need to stay informed and we need to stay educated, but we also need to put boundaries on ourselves to move away from that at a certain point, and take care of ourselves as well. So it's like, I don't know how you've been doing it, but I'm like finding that dance of like, I want to stay informed, but I can't lose my sanity over this.
Yeah, I think for me, like it's been tough because I've always been a news junkie, even as a kid.
Mm,
Um, so but like then obviously I got kids on my own and I don't need like all the stuff, like literally everything that's been happening these the first month and change of the year, kind of like not affect them or have them be anxious or worried about anything. So it's been a struggle a little bit just to find that balance. And like I've gone looked at my phone and like there's always like something going on, and it's like I just turn on the app and
Mhm.
I'm already like sad or upset about something. So
Yeah.
it's interesting time that we're in, especially a lot of what we do day to day involves a phone, like from like banking to like literally anything revolves around the phone. So
Hmm.
it's still trying to find that right balance, like staying informed or who you can really trust now that everything's kind of being manipulated in one way or another. So it's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot happening right now, but also recognizing that this just really happened not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we need a lot of time to process, and we need a lot of time to care for ourselves before we can have all the answers, which it's been so difficult for me to consider myself a mental health professional or a mental health expert or whatever you want to call it and not have all the answers. I have to remind myself that like, hey, you're on the same boat as everyone else, right? We're finding out more and more information, but it just happened. So giving ourselves that grace and that time to go through the motions and to process things, I think is very important for us to do. We have to like take in everything that we've been preaching all this time. Like we have to now take it in for ourselves because that's really the only way we're going to be able to protect our peace.
Mm-hmm. And even like if
Mm.
you work at a you work with other professionals in an interdisciplinary team and just kind of let them know like I'm in the same boat with the patients. Like I don't have the answers. Like I could just listen to people. They want to vent. Like I tell people, you want to vent, go ahead and vent. Like you're not. I'm here to be a listening ear or just.
Mhm.
But I don't. Not gonna have the answers or how to solve it. Or like shout out to Marvin who did that state of emergency Zoom call recently, and I literally I literally was doing safety planning with at my last job about because I had a lot of clients who are undocumented and they needed their HIV medication and just kind of safety plan like and letting them know having a serious talk like he might win again. So what you need to start planning on what you're going to be doing, how you're going to get your medicine, if you still even want to stay in the country, or you're thinking about moving to another state, or what have you. Like you gotta protect yourself, protect your family, and then kind of start thinking about. You got a few months ahead before election day, and kind of think about what you're going to do. So, just kind of be honest with clients as to what is going on and like you probably have as much anxiety as they do about what is happening
Mhm.
in real time and things are happening which is scary like in real time so like something
Mhm.
happens and then a few minutes later something else happens so it's been the news cycle kind of reminds me of like kind of like a little bit 2020 all over again maybe even a little worse now because it's like literally something a couple different things like every day.
Yeah, we're riding the wave alongside them.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Um, Now I know you got a podcast. What's it called and what's it about?
So it has the same name as my business, the First Gen Madrina, and it was initially intended to be a place where I can share stories of other first gens, and share different themes that are very relevant for us. Obviously, mental health is the overarching theme of all the episodes. I created a social work with Sarah segment so that I can intentionally ask questions that are related to mental health or emotional wellness within each episode. But each month is dedicated to a different theme, right? So we can be talking about family expectations. I talk about boundaries. I talk about finances as a first gen. This month is advocating as a first gen, which I think is, even though this was pre-planned, I think it came at a very good time.
Mm-hmm.
Next month will be supporting First Gen. So it will be that I will bring on different organizations that are doing the work to support our community, our students especially. So this is a good timing to have these discussions so that we know where things stand with the resources that are out there, what are the updates and things like that. So what I want to do is elevate the stories of our community so that we see that we're not alone, right? And many of us social workers are also first gen, so it's another part of our identity. So showing others that we are not alone, that we're a part of this journey together. And where can you go for additional support? What are those concrete resources that are available to us? So that's really what the podcast is all about, and I'm so proud of it, and I think it's something that I needed, especially when I was a student. So again, I do it as a way to give back to the community and hope that it helps.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's great that you're doing that, or have been doing that. So it's so needed. There's always people like yourself doing this amazing work, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Um,
Mm.
now I know
Mm.
so what else you got going on this year? Uh,
Oh, so this year, so if you would have asked me that question a few months ago, I had a whole strategic plan for 2025 that now I don't know what's going to happen with the new administration. But I think if anything, if we're taught anything as social workers, or if we learn anything as social workers, is to be adaptable, right?
mm,
And we gotta we roll sometimes with the punches and we figure things out and we become adaptable. And that has truly helped me. And how I operate the business. So, where I stand right now, one of the biggest things that I'm so excited to come out of 2025 is the fact that next month, I'm not sure when this will be released, but in March for National Social Work Month, I am launching an online community for social workers. And this was created even before all this was going to happen with the new administration, because I saw that there was a gap, that there's not enough support for social workers. There's a need for social workers to come together, to learn from each other, to have support in those ups and downs, to ask concrete, questions. I don't know about you, but I get a lot of questions from students like, where do I get my hours? How do I apply for the exam? How do I become an LCSW? All these questions. And I figured instead of just coming to me, why don't we come together as a community and share these stories and share these resources, cheer each other on, celebrate the wins together, and have a
mm,
space to network and share community with social workers from all over the US. So next month I'm launching, it's called the Madrina Network, a community for social workers where we'll meet once a month. Students will have their own separate track and professionals will have their own, just because there's different topics that will be covered, like licensing and hours will be more towards students, and then professionals will talk on things like pivoting. We'll talk about non-traditional social work careers, which I'm very passionate about as well. And it'll give them an opportunity if they want to do one-on-one work with me as well. So this community has been a labor of love and a labor of time that I have spent within the field and recognizing like, hey, I needed a mentor or a madrina figure along my
mm,
journey to explain all these things that I just used Google for, as we do, right? But sometimes Google isn't the most accurate. I would have loved to have spoken to somebody, about those challenges. So I'm happy to be able to present this back to the community. And um, on February 11th, the applications will launch, but every 3 months will be ongoing for whoever wants to join the community. So I'm excited to be able to put this together for everyone, and I hope that it provides the support during these uncertain times, because I don't know about you, but when times get tough, the first place that I go to is my community, is those people that I have met along the way that have supported me just like in a relationship, in the good times and the bad times. And those are the first people that I go to when I can't necessarily talk to my family about it. So I wanted to be able to create that space for social workers because there's still a big gap. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about that because I truly believe in the mission of this now more than ever to be that support during these tough times that we're navigating.
No, of course. Is there a fee to register for that community?
Yeah, so if you go, I can send it to you if you want to post it, but if you go on my website, the First Gen Madrina, and then you can backslash the Madrina network, you'll have all that information on there. So there's a monthly fee if you want to just be a part of just the community, which includes like the once a month call, a WhatsApp chat, a resource guide that I created, and access to my therapist network just in case they need to get connected to a therapist, and a bunch of other things. So there's one fee a month for that, and then there's an additional fee if you want to do one-on-one coaching with me. So all of that information is on the website. So if you have any questions, you can also feel free to email me, and my email's on there as well. So that is a part of my business it's a special service that I'm launching through the business as well. Ideally, I would love to in the future partner with big organizations and schools of social work to be able to sponsor students and professionals so that students and professionals don't have to pay.
Mm,
But since this is the first year that I'm launching, I haven't been able to make those connections yet. But in the long term, that's my goal to be able to partner with those larger institutions so that social workers don't have to pay.
cool.
Yeah.
Where could people reach out to you?
So you can find me on Instagram at the First Gen Madrina, or on LinkedIn. I'm under Sarah Diaz, LCSW. And then all the information about who I am and my services is on the firstgenmadrina.com. I tried to make it easy for people to find me. So I literally just named everything under the First Gen Madrina. So if you Google that, you can find out all that information.
Cool. That's great. Like I said, keep up the great work, and
Mhm.
you just gotta keep the faith. And I know it's hard, but
Yes.
that's all we got.
Yes, but we can come together and I'll make it
Mhm.
just a little bit easier. But thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to have been a part of the amazing 10 seasons. Again, congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
don't know if you know, but most podcasts don't make it, I think 50 episodes. Is that what it is?
I think it's even less than that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay, so even less. So the fact that we're here, I think it says a lot about the work that's needed, and the information that we're sharing through the podcast is crucial for our community. So thank you for that.
Thank you.